Serious, what new jobs/industries can we create to work from home and keep the economy stimulated during these difficult times? Natural resource professional here. I've been beating the drum for years that we would benefit from a massive, CCC-style mobilization to combat ecological issues like biodiversity collapse and invasive species management. Totally spitballing here, but you could train people online to identify and treat invasive species, then give them the tools to go out and do the actual labor. GIS technology would allow people to track and assign work areas remotely. Many organizations already do this, in addition to more robust species inventory and population counts. Basically, pay people to go do work by themselves on applicable public and private lands. Is it a bad idea? Maybe. Am I day drinking? Sure, who isn't? I think there's opportunities for people to tutor people's kids remotely since the schools are shut. Kids can learn remotely but are missing that person who can help when they get stuck. I think, someone correct me if I'm wrong. There's an opportunity for someone that can make a company that finds knowledgeable people, vets them and makes them available for students when needed. Now not all parents will be able to afford this, but I think many would consider this worth it, especially if they themselves are working from home, and it stops the kids distracting them for help. How about home health telemonitoring as a first response for the frail and the elderly? A video checkup on a regular schedule. Miss the checkup, the police make a wellness check. If the caretaker, probably a CNA, hears something in the video checkup, the patient would be encouraged to seek further attention. A few simple tools could be present in the home to allow the patient or a caretaker to do simple measurements, like blood pressure, blood sugar and heart rate. Diabetics who stop monitoring and or don't log in their blood sugar on cue would also get a wellness check. In this way, people are less likely to slip through the cracks in an emergency. This bears further consideration. There are plenty of people who have no one living with them, and no one to check in. Ireland is doing this with police, to be sure the elderly are not forgotten at home. Urban technologies that would make growing and cultivating food easier even in small spaces in city. The Martian style. This has a lot of promise. Hydroponic gardening in old industrial buildings has been pioneered for a couple of decades now. The equipment doesn't have to be hugely expensive. We could definitely expand this industry a lot. Fresh local vegetables in every neighborhood. No need to fly them in from Mexico or Chile or California. And we have a lot of expertise, considering the size of the weed-growing subreddits. Going to need a lot more therapists, counselors and mental health workers. Grocery drop-off is great, but I would expand it. Dinner drop-off. Local restaurants should do packaged dinner options that you can pick up. I know some already do, but more would be great. Home stores need a victory garden drop. Soil, seeds, netting, straw. The essentials grocery box, bread, butter, milk, eggs. I am not used to shopping every 2 weeks, so having an essentials box I could get drive up would be nice. Neighborhood library cases. I would love to share books and puzzles with my neighbors, but don't really want to wait around for them. It would be great if there was a waterproof library nook we could put in the cul-de-sac island. Where zoning allows, raise chickens, not roosters, and sell fresh eggs to your neighbors, friends, and others that respond to ads. A neighbor started raising hens about 2 years ago and is doing a lively business distributing fresh eggs locally. They can be left on people's doorsteps in a designated egg container, similar to the milkman's box, no face-to-face exchange required. I like the idea a lot, but before starting this, you have to check local and state regulations as well as FDA requirements to produce and sell any food. Licenses and inspections may apply. I was thinking of one. Perhaps something that shows you which grocery stores currently have a low-high load of traffic/customers. This way we can avoid each other, spread out our shopping to other stores. Not sure if Google has an API to allow for use of total cell phone traffic in an area? Google does actually do this where I live, UK, North. You can search for a business and it will show you a graph of how busy it usually gets at various times of the day, then compares that to how busy it actually is at that point. It's really useful. I hate busy places and have managed to avoid unexpected rushes a few times in the past. Virtual cooking classes. A lot of people are being forced to cook dinner for themselves for the first time in their lives. If you have no training, it's an intimidating first experience. Even basic things like, are you peeling the garlic correctly? How can you tell when the steak's done? The recipe says 10 minutes, but how much leeway is there? You could an expert on a Zoom conference, who could answer quick questions and check your technique. There's lots of experienced restaurant workers out of a job right now. The chef could put 8 to 10 people in a virtual room, and rotate around answering questions. It'd also be a social experience between the participants. I really wish retail salesmen like me could become digital helpers for customers through the company instead of being let go. I was laid off. This is my last working weekend. My job was an experience consultant for a mobile company. I held workshops and one-on-one sessions with lots of clients free of cost to the customer. I helped with new device setups and transfers. There are a lot of people in my area that don't know much about cell phones or how to use them, so I actually stayed pretty busy helping customers all day answering basic things. Mostly older folks, but even a lot of younger folks have no clue sometimes. So I wish I could still offer help to them, but over video conferencing or something, and still be employed by my employer. I see a need for virtual assistants becoming a thing for more people until things are looking up. I work at a school as a teacher aide, so I'm getting paid too, in a way, to not do anything. I just check my email, read updates, and then read manga and watch YouTube the rest of the day. I decided now would be a good time to start my dream job of being a voice actress. I'm starting as a narrator for books that are now in public domain. Last night, I finished the first chapter of The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. Now, where can I upload it so I can be recognized and start getting paid? It's not exactly a new job or a new industry, but becoming a caregiver to a sick, elderly or disabled family member or individual isn't exceptionally hard to do. For example, you would have to take care of a person's home, cook meals for them, give them medicine, or if they're capable, gently remind them to take their medicine, provide companionship, etc. I'm not sure if the programs are still accepting people, but I know that a bunch of places in the past advertised where you can sign up to be a caregiver to someone for XYZ company. Or, you can ask if it's doable through the individual's or family member's insurance. There really aren't many that don't require at least a 4-year education. If working from home was viable enough for everyone, we'd be doing it. Working from home kicks ass. An engineer can on CAD, an accountant can still do their work from home, but I'm an environmental analyst for the government and I need a laboratory. They just sent me home and told me to work from home. What am I supposed to do without my lab? There are a lot of people in similar situations. I could do consulting work, but who's going to hire me when DHEC and the EPA are also busy with coronavirus stuff? So I'm left with the traditional online job options as everyone else. Which is basically nothing. Basically all office work should be worked from home. With all the technology and software at our disposal, there's almost no excuse to have a bunch of people sitting in a giant office space doing work that could easily be done from home. Hell, think of the positive effects that would have on the environment. How many people spend hours per week commuting back and forth to some office job? Think of how much traffic would be eliminated. Not to mention the carbon footprint of the typical office building. Work from home should become the norm. One of the good things to come out of all this mess right now is that artists and musicians will have a lot more time to create. If you've ever had an idea for a shirt or card, now is the time to make that happen. Screen printers need the work right now. Support your local artist. Most have online shops, and heck, even Bandcamp is giving 100% of sales today, 320 straight to the musicians. Basically, you're going to have to start in your community, help each other out. Wouldn't hurt if they forgave taxes this year either. Artist here. Well, craftsman I should say. I have had a side hustle as a potter for the last 10 years and my main hustle just laid me off. I definitely have more time to create, but I'm worried that my pots aren't going to be in demand like they were when people had disposable income. My main customers are restaurants and cafes, and they are definitely not looking for more handmade plateware. I've thought about creating project boxes for kids, along with an online video to help teach them how to make a small monster or pinch pot bowl. Or online classes for amateurs who own their own equipment and want to improve their skills. My wife just gave birth 2 days ago though, so I'm not really at liberty to pursue either for another couple of days. It's really all up in the air, I suppose. I was actually thinking that this would be the perfect time to really crank out those highway repairs/improvements. No more working at night for 3 hours at a time. No one has won the roads, just do it now. Obviously take medical precautions, but it would probably be less dangerous than your standard grocery store employee. This is exactly how the depression economy got jump-started again. Massive multi-year public works projects like the highway system and hydroelectric dams. Having the roads at lower capacity would indeed reduce the cost. I also think home chefs are going to become a lot more popular. If you can't go out to eat, or know how to make something, call up one of these guys and they'll buy/cook/clean for you. Home cooking classes could also be a thing. Have a hankering for actual Chinese food or traditional Czech dumplings? An actual mainlander could come to your home, bonus if it in sweet old lady type, and make it happen. The Ethiopian family next door to me makes the best food and I'm sad that nobody else gets to experience it. We need more mobile tech helpers, who can diagnose and fix hardware issues, Wi-Fi problems, etc. It would also be helpful to develop local networks for Wi-Fi, scanning and printing, because it can be expensive for every individual to have all the necessary equipment to work out of one's home. I'm doing this right now as a side gig in my apartment building, and I am making a killing doing it. Every night I'm busy fixing people's computers, phones, walking people through setting up their Wi-Fi devices, smart TVs, etc. All I did was post a notice on the board in the lobby and the calls just came in instantly. If it's a hardware issue they'll drop their stuff off in the front office, I'll come down and pick it up, fix it, and then drop it off in the office for them to pick up and then they pay me via e-transfer, so very little, if any, point of contact. Wi-Fi and setup help I do via FaceTime or Skype. People right now are desperate to get their internet-capable devices running and running smoothly. I get a lot of business from my elderly neighbors, who want to get an email or Facebook set up, so they can stay in contact with their friends and family. I help out a lot of younger people to get their devices fixed or running smoothly. I have a lot of extra parts that I also use to upgrade kids' computers, so they can more easily game online, and then I always toss in a free game or free gaming/mechanical keyboard and mouse, because I got a ton of those laying around. Anything else I need I order online. I don't charge people much, and will always accept a payment of a case of beer, baked goods, or a meal if they're low on cash. For people that were working in the service industry or were laid off I help out free of charge, because they need these things running in order to find work. Here's what I'm doing right now. I've been teaching ESL online at Q Kids to children in China since July. My second job closed due to COVID-19, so this is now my main source of income. The hours right now are increased as well, since the children in China are out of school. I really recommend signing up to work for Q Kids as an easy income for this time of instability, and maybe keeping it as a side gig for extra cash afterwards. It's honestly pretty easy. You just need to be located in the US/Canada, have to have your bachelor's, or be in your last semester of school, and once you're hired you need to get your TESOL certificate too, but it's super quick, takes a couple days to do and you can find it on Groupon for like $20. You basically just install an app on your phone and computer, and you have access to their teaching program. You log into the program for the 30 minutes class you teach, and just guide the children through the slides, which are given to you ahead of time, and correct them on pronunciation and praise them. You don't need to know any Mandarin or Cantonese as it's a fully immersive English program. The hours are linked, in EST, the usual hours are in black, but the extended hours due to COVID-19 are in red. You just have to tell them your availability and then you'll be assigned to the classes. The base pay is $8 per 30 minutes class with a chance to earn an additional $2 in bonus per class. So could be up to $10, $14-ish CAD, for just 30 minutes of your time, without leaving the house. Illustration and digital painting. Currently, both fields are undervalued and you are lucky to make minimum wage seeking out online commissions. I think that we have been underutilized. Can you imagine an explosion of investments into the arts, Renaissance style? All of the meme and cultural iconography potential, and none of us have to leave our computers/screens. We all need to adorn our online profiles with icons, banners and headers. It could be a real chance to shape the internet the way we want to. Currently making a very good living as a full-time writer and freelance telejournalist despite coronavirus. A few days ago, a foreign TV network needed a foreign correspondent in Australia. I literally just did my first live cross about an hour ago, which will hopefully be a recurring gig, as it pays extraordinarily well. I was lucky enough that this job fell in my lap, but I should warn any newbies who are new to remote work that you will need to put in the legwork. I only got the TV gig because I had an Upwork profile and was sought out that way. The writing job was because I'd made contacts throughout my years in the industry. In other words, it's not just new jobs in terms of medium, it's just that there are new job variants that exist now, that didn't exist a few months ago, or were in low demand. If you're a med student or know a lot about COVID-19, or are willing to put in the effort to learn, you will be in high demand. If you're a prepper, you're in high demand. If you're an economist, even just a student, you will be in very high demand. If you're a part of a country under lockdown, try reaching out to foreign newspapers, websites, and TV networks to offer your services. In many instances, you can make $500 plus for a live cross for just a few minutes from the comfort of your lounge just using a smartphone. Think outside the box. I know people mention some forms of digital art, but I would like focus on digital animation. All film and TV shoots that haven't started this year are no longer insured and therefore canned. In my region, the only form of new content released will be animation. All digital streaming platforms are booming due to people staying at home, and they will be needing new content. I bet their animation quotas will be increased. If you've had any interest in this field, this is your time to learn software and put your show reel together. The next 2 to 6 months are your time to get your shit together. Also, if you're keen to go it alone, I recommend you try your hand at edutainment, which is in extremely high demand.